I struggle with being still and being present in the Sabbath. But it's a good struggle because it makes me more aware of how I need to be still and be present in my relationships at other points in the week. I need to cease in order to embrace. So that is a crucial aspect of friendship, I would suggest. This aspect of being present, it's a characteristic of the Trinity, this presence, and it's one that should mark our friendships too. Now let me wrap up by making a few comments about pastors and friendships. What might this view of friendship as a Christian practice mean for church leadership? Well, first of all, pastors, church leaders, must engage in the practice of friendship. Pastors must learn to be good friends for a couple reasons. One is it's intrinsically good. It's the way of Jesus. It's part of living a full life. It grounds a pastor. Friendships are a source of joy, a source of support, a source of accountability. Besides being intrinsically good, pastors need to be friends because it sets a model for others. How do you expect others, how do you call others in your congregation to deep, loving, rich friendships if you are not modeling those types of friendships yourself? Christian leaders are to be models for others in the community. We see this in 1 Timothy chapter 3. And part of that modeling involves modeling friendships. Many pastors have been given the message that they must be careful to maintain a certain distance from their parishioners. Well, that's a complicated issue and one that perhaps you could write on in your postings. It does take some wisdom to know how to be friends with people in your congregation and to be discerning in terms of who you open up to and show your deepest secrets. You don't want to do that with everybody. You don't do that from the pulpit. But if you can't have friendships with people in your congregation, maybe you're setting yourself apart too much. It's a tough one to wrestle with. When I was pastoring, I did have deep friendships in the congregation, and those were important to me. And I sought to be wise in how I talked about those with other people. But there were friends, a group of men that I could say anything to. I could share everything. At the same time, I also had friendships outside the congregation. And as a pastor, as a Christian leader, that's something for you to think about also. It can be important to have friendships outside the congregation where you can talk about things without reserve, without thinking about how this is going to affect the others' participation in the congregation. So maybe your friendships are going to be in the congregation, maybe out. I would suggest both. But if you want to be a good pastor, you need to develop good friendships. I close by returning to the paradigmatic friendships of Jesus. Jesus entered fully into friendships with his disciples. He didn't go outside the congregation only to find these friendships. He entered fully into friendship with his disciples. He openly expressed both his joys and his sorrows in their presence. He extended himself for them and asked them to do the same for him. He walked with them not just during the climactic, crucial moments of life, but he walked with them through the mundane things of life as well. He fished with them, he ate with them, he went hiking with them, he worshiped with them. Jesus and his disciples were friends, and their friendships in no way compromised the mission of Jesus. In fact, those friendships were intrinsic to the mission of Jesus. It was partly in and through these friendships that the mission of Jesus was carried out. This paradigm calls for all Christians, pastors, leaders, and all other Christians to enter into the practice of friendship.